Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, also spelt Nyusi, is the fourth president of Mozambique, in office since 2015. He previously served as Minister of Defense from 2008 to 2014. Mr. Nyusi was first elected by popular vote in 2014 and re-elected in 2019 for his second and last 5-year term in a landslide. He is the current leader of FRELIMO, the party that has governed Mozambique since its independence from Portugal in 1975. He has served as the chairman of the Southern African Development Community since August 2020. During his time in office, President Nyusi has promoted peace and security, and signed multiple agreements with the former rebel group turned political party RENAMO, including the peace accord that brought a definitive and lasting peace to Mozambique. Since 2017, the country is grappling with an Islamic insurgency in the gas-rich northernmost province of Cabo Delgado. President Nyusi is credited for successfully mobilizing regional and international support to fighting the insurgents, which has somewhat decreased the intensity of the conflict, which has displaced an estimated 1 million people and killed at least 4,000. Through his leadership, the country has achieved one of the most successful COVID-19 immunization campaigns in sub-Saharan Africa. During his time in office from 2015 to 2018, the poverty reduction trend observed between 2009 to 11 and 2015 reversed direction. The number of multidimensionally poor people increased from about 21.3 to about 22.2 million people from 2015 to 2018, with the extra million poor people mainly located in rural areas of the central provinces. Mozambique is considered a partially free country in the latest Freedom House report, which assesses rights and civil liberties worldwide. The current president of Mozambique, Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, was born on February 9, 1959, at Mueda, Cabo Delgado, Mozambique. His parents were Jacinto Nyusi Chimela and Angelina Daima. Both of his parents were active members of the Frente de Libertação de Mozambique, FRELIMO, an African liberation movement and political party that fought a decades-long guerrilla war against the Portuguese colonial government of Mozambique. At the start of the Mozambican War for Independence, Nyusi was taken across the border to attend a FRELIMO school in Tunduru, Tanzania. He attended FRELIMO secondary schools in Mariri and Beira in liberated portions of northern Mozambique. In 1973, at the age of 14, he joined FRELIMO. He was sent to Tanzania for political and military training. On June 25, 1975, Mozambique became an independent nation under a FRELIMO government. In the 1980s, Nyusi studied at the Antonin Zapataki Military Academy in Brno, Czechoslovakia, graduating in 1990 with a master's degree in mechanical engineering. Nyusi returned to Mozambique, where he was employed with the Mozambique Ports Authority. By 1995 he was the executive director of the Northern Division of the authority. In 2007 Nyusi was appointed to the board of directors of the Ports Authority. Between 1993 and 2002 Nyusi served as president of a top division football club based in Nampula. He was also a lecturer at the Universidade Pedagógica in Nampula. In 1999 he pursued postgraduate studies in senior management at Victoria University in Manchester, England. Nyusi remained active in FRELIMO, which had been the predominant political party in Mozambique since independence. On March 27, 2008, he was appointed Minister of Defense in the government of President Armando Guebuza. In September of 2012 Nyusi was elected to the Central Committee of FRELIMO. In 2014 he was nominated by FRELIMO as the party's candidate for president. He won the election and was inaugurated as the fourth president of Mozambique on January 15, 2015. In 2019 he ran for re-election and won 74% of the vote. He was inaugurated on January 20, 2020, for his second and final term. Nyusi has faced numerous challenges during his time in office. His country remains one of the poorest in Africa with an unemployment rate of nearly 25%. In 2019 Mozambique was hit by two cyclones that wreaked considerable damage on large areas of the country. In the north, Islamic rebels have gained a foothold. Troops from several other African countries, along with the Mozambican military, have been deployed to counter the insurgency. In 2022 it was revealed the $2 billion in hidden loans had been secured by government officials fraudulently. Charges of corruption have been leveled against Nyusi's government. Meanwhile, the government is attempting to secure an investment of $25 billion in the Mozambique liquid natural gas project in hopes of expanding the economy and enriching the country. A vast quantity of natural gas was discovered in 2010 off the coast of northern Mozambique. Unfortunately, this is the same region where various rebel groups currently operate. Filipe Nyusi is married to Isaura Ferreira Nyusi. They have 4 children, Jacinto, Florindo, Claudia, and Angelina. On January 3, 2022, President Nyusi and his wife, Isaura, tested positive for COVID-19. They went into isolation and have since recovered. Since January 15, 2015, Filipe Jacinto Nyusi is the President of the Republic of Mozambique. 2008 to 2014, he was the Minister of Defense. 2012, he was elected member of the Central Committee of FRELIMO Party. By the 10th Congress held in Pemba, he was a member of the Provincial Committee of FRELIMO Party in Nampula. 2005 to 2014, he is a member of the Association of the National Liberation Struggle Fighters, ACLN, and a member of its National Committee. 1973 Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, at the age of 14 joined the Liberation Front of Mozambique, FRELIMO, and underwent political military training at the Nikingwi camp, in Tanzania. 1975, as a pioneer, continuator, he was party to the group that represented students from Tunduru Educational Center in the celebrations of the Proclamation of National Independence, on June 25, 1975, at the Makava Stadium in Maputo. 2003, he was awarded a certificate in management education by the India Institute of Management, IMM, in Ahmedabad, state of Gujarat, in India. 1999, he completed postgraduate studies in senior management at the Victoria University, in Manchester, United Kingdom. 1990, he completed mechanical engineering course, at VAAZ Brno Military Academy, Czech Republic, where he was awarded a master's degree in engineering and honored as the best student. 1982, he completed the second cycle of secondary education at Samora Machel Secondary School, in Beira City, Sofala Province. 1980, he completed the first cycle of secondary education, at FRELIMO Secondary School, in Mariri, Cabo Delgado Province. 1974, he completed primary education, at the Tunduru Educational Center, in Tanzania. He attended various courses and short-term professional attachments in Swaziland, South Africa, and the United States of America. Professional experience. Filipe Jacinto Nyusi started his professional career at the Mozambique Ports and Railways Company, in 1992, in Nampula. 1992 to 1993, he was a worker and assistant to the Chief General Workshop, in Nampula. 1993 to 1995, he was the Railways Director, Nampula. 1995 to 2007, he was the Managing Director of the Mozambique Railways Company, Northern Region, Nampula. 2007 to 2008, he served as the Executive Manager of the Mozambique Ports and Railways Company, in Maputo. 2002 to 2008, he was a part-time lecturer at the Pedagogical University, in Nampula, Mathematics Department. 1995 to 2005, he was the president of Club Ferroviario de Nampula, Railways Sports Club, having conquered the trophy as the 2004 national soccer champion. For 3 years he was a member of the Community of Higher Education Science and Technology, in Nampula Province. As Guebuza was constitutionally barred from a third term as president, FRELIMO selected Filipe Nyusi to be the party's presidential candidate in the 2014 elections, while Guebuza maintained his role as party leader. Nyusi was elected president, and FRELIMO maintained its majority in the legislature, although it won fewer seats than it had in the previous election. The leading candidate to be the next president of Mozambique comes from the northernmost province as the country begins to shift focus to the resource-rich north, and back to its roots. Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, 55, the Minister of Defense, who has a substantial lead in the polls to become the next president of Mozambique, was born at Mueda in the northern province of Cabo Delgado, which borders on southern Tanzania. Cabo Delgado was the heart and headquarters of the War of Liberation in Mozambique, 1964 to 1975, supported by Tanzania. Both countries have recently identified significant reserves of natural gas offshore in the border area, and many strategic minerals are located in the area. Nyusi was born on February 9, 1959 and brought up in the national liberation movement that won independence from Portuguese colonial rule. Before he was 2 years old, an incident occurred in Mueda on June 16, 1960 that was as significant in mobilizing and politicizing Mozambicans as the Sharpeville massacre was for South Africans just 3 months earlier. The colonial police fired on unarmed protesters demanding better living conditions and wages on the cotton estates, in what became known as the Mueda massacre. As many as 500 people died, although the exact figures were disputed by the colonial authorities. Both of Nyusi's parents were veterans of the war, which was starting at the time he was taken across the nearby Ruvuma River, the boundary with Tanzania, to the FRELIMO primary school at Tunduru just across the border. Tanzania provided shelter for Mozambican refugees and a rear base for the Mozambique Liberation Front, FRELIMO, guerrillas, including training and equipment as well as hosting the Liberation Committee of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. Nyusi is from the Makonde ethnic group, and the Makonde African National Union, later Mozambique African National Union, was one of the first movements formed to demand independence, and one of 3 parties that came together to form FRELIMO in 1962. FRELIMO launched the Liberation War from Cabo Delgado on September 25, 1964, and the man credited with firing the first shots is Nyusi's popular predecessor as defense minister, Alberto Chipand, who was appointed by the first president, Samora Machel, at independence in 1975 and held the position until 1986. Chipand, who hails from the same province as Nyusi, has been consistently the most popular figure re-elected to the FRELIMO Central Committee with the highest number of votes and continues to be an influential member of the top decision-making body, the 17-member Political Commission, as he has been since independence. FRELIMO guerrillas attacked the Portuguese air base at Mueda in one of its first major military actions, in 1967, seriously damaging the base, and again in 1972, when all 19 airplanes were destroyed. Young Filipe Nyusi was able to return home during the war to start his secondary education at the FRELIMO school at Mariri in Cabo Delgado, by then a liberated zone, and finished later at the Samora Machel Secondary School in Beira, after independence was achieved on June 25, 1975. He later earned a degree in mechanical engineering at a military academy in Czechoslovakia, completing in 1990, and returned home to join the National Ports and Rail Company, CFM, becoming executive director of CFM Norte from 1995 to 2007, during a period when Guebuza was Minister of Transport. If the official results confirm his election, he will be the first president of Mozambique to originate from the north of the vast country that stretches 2,470 kilometers along the southeast coast of Africa between the United Republic of Tanzania and South Africa, although President Armando Guebuza, from the south, also grew up in the north and fought in the Liberation War. Nyusi was appointed by Guebuza as Minister of Defense in 2008, and elected to the party's Central Committee in 2012. Selected by the Central Committee of FRELIMO in early March, from among 5 contenders to be their presidential candidate, Nyusi had the closest links to the liberation struggle, although this is the first post-war transition and none of them actually fought in the war. 3 candidates had been pre-selected, including Nyusi, but a significant sector of the party, including the war veterans, argued that other candidates should not be excluded, and also called for the restructuring of the FRELIMO Secretariat. The veterans think it necessary that we should have a strong party and a strong secretariat, a spokesperson said, adding that a strong secretariat would raise morale within the party and would be able to mobilize the people so that FRELIMO wins the elections. This had the effect of ensuring a clear and transparent contest within the FRELIMO party, won handily by Nyusi with 2/3 of the vote. The FRELIMO Secretary-General, Filipe Ponda, resigned following his defense of the pre-candidate system, and the Central Committee replaced him with Elisu Makava, the governor of the same Cabo Delgado Province. Cabo Delgado Province, which ignited the Liberation War more than 50 years ago, and became the dry grass that fueled its rapid expansion, is now the site of a more recent discovery, 80 trillion cubic feet of natural gas discovered off the coast, acknowledged as the largest natural gas find of the last decade. This double emphasis on Cabo Delgado and its attendant focus on the twin values of renewal of the liberation struggle coupled with post-veteran leadership has set the tone for FRELIMO's election campaign, causing one commentator to pronounce that, although the time was short to introduce a new leader, with just 8 months to election day, FRELIMO has likely won the election with these decisions taken in the first days of March. Those words have proved to be prophetic as Nyusi took an early lead in the polls, and looks set to achieve almost 60% of the popular vote, although well down from the 75% achieved by his popular predecessor in 2009. FRELIMO has done well in the north and the south as expected, while the opposition RENAMO and MDM did better in the center of the country. The FRELIMO vote is also down and they will have fewer seats in parliament, while the RENAMO party of Afonso Dhlakama will have more than previously. The third main party, the Mozambique Democratic Movement, MDM, is trailing but is likely to increase its seats in the National Assembly. The presidential candidates for FRELIMO and RENAMO both have gained a higher percentage of votes than their respective parties, while the MDM leader, Davi Simango, has proved less popular than his party. Simango is the mayor of Beira, but RENAMO did much better in the city than MDM. Some commentators have suggested that Dhlakama's sabotage activities in the center of the country over the past 2 years were a successful election ploy. As expected, the northern and southern provinces were won handily by Nyusi and FRELIMO, while Dhlakama and RENAMO won more votes in the north central and center as well as the central cities of Beira and Chimela. However, it is too early for deeper analysis until the full results are known. The results of the elections on October 15 are not yet official, but with some of the counting done, Nyusi has gained enough votes consistently across the provinces to become the next president of Mozambique when President Armando Guebuza stands down early next year. Thank you for watching this video.